Okay, here, this data structure and application, this is the core subject in computer science branch. Okay, in all the areas, you should know the concept of data. This is one of the important course in computer science department. Here, we have 5 modules, and to study that 5 modules, you have to refer to textbooks. First textbook, that is Fundamentals of Data Structures in C by Horowitz and Sartaj Shahani, second edition, and second textbook, Data Structures by Stamus Outlines. You have to refer these 2 textbooks for this particular course. So before moving to the subject, now what is data? The term data comes from a singular form, that is datum, which means fact. Fact means information, any information in raw or unorganized form. Any information we can call as the data. Okay, that may be the quantity, or that may be the measurement, or that may be the object, or that may be the people, or that may be the things, or that may be some other entity. Any information we can call as the data. Now, how we can store this information in computer? In computer, data is simply a value assigned to a variable. Okay, now what is variable? Variable is simply a name given to a particular memory location. Now, to store any information in computer or to store the data in computer, we require variable. That means we have to store that data in some memory location, and for that particular memory location, we have to give some name that we can call as the variable, right? Okay, for example, name, here we have name, variable name, and data, that is Raj. Okay, Raj, that is the data, that particular data we are storing in the memory location name, right? Again, this Raj, that is the string data. Another example, class equal to 12. Okay, here class, that is the variable name, and 12, that is data, integer type data that we are storing in the memory location class. Same way we have the data 80 that we are storing in the variable name marks. We have the mass, that is the character type or string type that we are storing in the variable subject. Understood, right? What is data? Data is information initially that is in raw or unorganized form. That particular information we have to store in computer or computer memory. Okay, for that we are using the variable, right? Okay, now what is data structure? Why this data structure is required? I told initially that data that is not in organized form, that is raw data, again that is in unorganized form. Now, data structure is a particular way of organizing the data in a computer so that it can be used efficiently. Okay, that means that unorganized data you can just store in computer in particular way, organized way, so that we can use that efficiently while writing the application, writing the source code, or while developing the any application. Okay, that we can call as the data structure, right? Or another definition, data structure is a way of collecting and organizing the data in such a way that we can perform operations on this data in an effective way. Here we have 2 examples. First example, that is array. Here we have 10 marks. Again, that 10 marks, that is the integer type. Initially, that 10 marks, that is in unorganized form. In computer memory, we are storing that in the form of array. Here int marks of 10. So here initially we are allocating 10 memory location from the index 0 to 9, and in this particular memory location we are giving some name for this memory location, that name is marks, and in this particular memory location we are storing the integer data or integer value. Okay, this is one example for the data structure. We are organizing the data in computer in specific way or in particular way. Again here, array, that is one example for the data structure. Here we have another example, that is structure. Here in array we can store only one information. Okay, suppose if you want to store many information related to that particular employee or particular student, at that time we can use the structure. For example, here example structure employee. This structure that is related to the employee. Okay, that employee is having the ID. Again, that employee is having the name. Again, employee is having the salary. Okay, this information you can store in computer in the form of structure. Right? Okay, this is another example for the data structure. Understood, right? You got some idea, right? What is data structure? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, organizing the data in computers so that later we can use that efficiently. That we can call as the data structure. Okay, now what is the course outcome? After studying this particular course, what you can do? Okay, here, first course outcome, illustrate different types of data structures, operations, and algorithms. Okay, here in this particular course, we are discussing different types of data structures. Okay, the data structures are stack. First, it will start from array, then stack, queues, linked list, trees, and graphs. All these are different types of data structures that we'll discuss in this particular course, and we can perform different operations on this particular data structure. Okay, that means we can perform the insert operation, again you can perform the deletion operation, or you can perform searching operation, or you can perform the sorting operation. Again, you can perform the traversing operations on this particular data. Okay. To perform that operations, again, we can use different algorithms. Maybe in your C, you have studied the different sorting algorithms. For example, selection sort, bubble sort, etc., etc. Again, for searching, you may studied about the binary search, linear search, etc., etc. That are the different algorithms. Okay, that we'll discuss in this particular course. That is operations we can perform on that data. Again, different algorithms, how we can perform the operations. For that we can use some algorithms. And second outcome, that is apply the knowledge of searching and sorting operations on files. Again, here we can store the information in the form of file also. After storing information in file, suppose if you want to search some file names, you can perform searching operation. Again, inside the file, maybe that content that is not in the sorted form, ascending or descending order, you can just perform the sorting operation to place that ascending or descending order. That we will discuss in this particular course. And third outcome, construction of stack, queues, linked list, trees, and graphs to solve the problems. Suppose if you organize the data based on this data structure, you can solve the complex problems easily. Okay, next, implement the data structure in high-level language for the problem solving. First, we'll discuss different types of data structures. After that, we'll discuss how we can use that data in different formats that we'll discuss in this particular course. So now, to study this particular subject, you should know some basic concept related to C programming for problem solving that you may study in your first semester or second semester, and you should know some practical experience related to the C program, again that you studied in your first semester or second semester. Right now, where we can use this course in your higher semester? Almost all the subjects based on this data structure subject. All the program related subjects are based on this data structure subject. See, you may study, there may be different programming languages, maybe C or C++ or Java or Python or .NET. In all these programming subjects, we are using the data structures. Maybe representation is different, but we are using the data structure in all these programming subjects. Okay, here in higher semester, you have the object-oriented concept, design and analysis of algorithms, advanced Java and J2E, Python application programming, design and analysis algorithm laboratory, computer network lab, system software and operating system laboratory, computer graphics laboratory with mini projects. In is all these subjects is based on the data structure that we are studying in this particular course or in this semester. What is the application area where we will use this data structure? Almost in all programming language, we are using this data structure. I am mentioning some of the application areas, maybe in digital image processing or wired or wireless computer networking, pattern recognition, computer graphics and animation. We are using, this is some of the application areas. In almost all the computer related courses, we are using this data structure. Right now, what is before moving to the subject, first we'll recall the C language that you have studied in your first semester. Is it okay? First semester or second semester? All of you comfortable in C?
No.
All of you comfortable in C?
No, ma'am. Wait a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
I will quickly recall the concept, right? Maybe in 1 or 2 or 3 classes, we'll recall the concept related to the C. Is it okay?
Yes.
We'll
Yes, ma'am.
start. Okay, we will start from data types, right? I told that data, that is the raw information, okay, that may be in the form of number, or that may be in the form of character, or that may be in the form of string, or that may be in the form of floating point number, etc., etc. Okay, now we have to store that data in some memory location. Okay, now for that memory location, we have to give some name that we can call as the variable, right? Now that variable in C has an associated data type. What type of data we are storing in that particular memory location? Okay, that type of data we can just name it as data type. Right now, each data type requires different amounts of memory and has some specific operations which can be performed over it. Again, that data that is different type. Again, we can store that data in some memory location. Each data, it will take different amounts of memory. For example, if you have the integer data, it will take some amount of memory location. If you have the floating point data, it will take some more memory location. Again, if you have the long string, it will take more memory locations. So each data, it will take different amounts of memory, and on that particular data, we can perform some operations. For example, if you have the integer data, we can perform the addition operation, multiplication operation, subtraction operation, and division operation. Again, if you have the string data, we cannot perform the subtraction operation, or we cannot perform the addition operation. Okay, so based on the data type, we can perform some operations on that particular data, right? Okay, now there are 4 types of data in C language. That is basic data types. Under that we have int, character, float, and double. Derived data types. Under that we have array, pointers, structure, and union. Then we have the enumerated data type. Under that we have enum. And last one, there is a wide data type. That is the data type keyword, that is wide. Right? First data type, that is int. Basic data type. Under the first data type, that is int. Again, under integer, int means we can store the number. Full number we can store under integer data type. Again, under integer, we have different types. Okay, that is int. This is small letter, not capital letter. First one, int. I is small letter. Again, here C language, that is case sensitive, right? Suppose if you give I in capital letter, it will just display the error message, right? Integer, that is one data type. Unsigned int, second data type. Again, under int, we have the short, unsigned short, long, again unsigned long. Okay, now this data type, it will take some amount of memory location. For example, integer that will take 2 bytes of memory location. Here, this integer that is positive or negative, that means here we can store the positive number or negative number. That range that will come from -32768 to +32767. Unsigned integer, again it will take 2 bytes of memory location. Range is from 0 to 65,535. Short, it will take 2 bytes of memory location, and this is the value range. Unsigned short, again it will take 2 bytes of memory location. This is the value range. Long, long int 4 bytes, unsigned long, again it will take 4 bytes of memory locations. Okay, these are some example or some derivation of the integer data type. Yes, any doubt till now? Anybody having any doubt?
Ma'am, in int, first letter is capital or small letter?
Small letter, that is small letter. It's small, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, any other doubt? Any other doubts? You can ask. You should very thorough in C language, then only easily you can learn the data structure. You should know the basic thoroughly.
Ma'am, unsigned int means what, ma'am?
Unsigned int means, okay, here, see, in int, that range that is from -32,768 to 32,767, right? Okay, that means
Yes,
that range, again, that is the memory location that is having the negative number, again, positive number. Unsigned int means we don't have the negative value, it contains only the positive value.
okay, ma'am.
Here short also. See here, first one short. In that we have the positive range, again negative range. But in unsigned short, we have only the negative range. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Any other doubt? Shall I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, fine. See here again under basic data types, we have the another types, another different types, that is character, float, and double, right? Okay, now here different types of float variables, floating point types. Under that floating point, my screen is visible, right? Floating point types.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, float. Under float, we have the float variable. Again, we have the double variable. Again, we have the long double variable. Okay, in this variable or in this particular memory location, we can store the fractional number also. Okay, here float, we will take 4 bytes of memory location. Storage size is 4 bytes. Double storage location is 8 bytes. Again, long double storage location is 10 bytes. Suppose if you want to store lengthy floating point number, we can use the long double. Okay, here precision after that dot after the decimal point, you can enter 19 decimal places. Here we have the in double we have the 15 decimal places. In float, after floating point, that dot operator you can write the 6 digits. Again, here in this we have one more data type, that is the character. Anybody can tell me how many memory location, how many bytes of memory location character will take?
1 byte.
1 byte of memory location. Okay. Again, in character also we have two types, that is character. Again, another one is the unsigned character, right? Character and unsigned character. Unsigned character, it will use only the positive range. Again, character, it will take the negative range and as well as positive range, right? Okay, next, what is keywords? Anybody can tell me the different rules used while declaring the variable or while creating the variable? Different rules we have to follow while creating the variable or while declaring the variable.
First character must be alphabet.
First character must be alphabet or
Underscore.
underscore. Yeah, and second one?
31 character is significant.
Yeah, 31 character is significant. Again, that is based on your system, whether you are using the 32-bit system or whether you are using the 64-bit system, right? Okay, suppose if you are using the 64-bit system, you can use 64 characters. Okay, that is 0 to 63. That is based on the which system you are using, right? Another rule. Tell me the another rule.
Cannot duplicate a keyword.
Cannot duplicate. We cannot use the keyword as a variable name, right? Correct. And one more.
Space should not be used.
Yes.
No white spaces.
No white spaces. No white spaces. We cannot use any special characters while giving the variable name, while declaring the variable, right? We cannot use any special characters or any white spaces. Okay, suppose if you use VCET Puttur as a variable name, it will just consider VCET as the variable name and it will just ignore the Puttur, because in between that VCET and Puttur we have the white space. Understood, right? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
next topic, that is keywords used in C language. Here in C language, we have 32 keywords that we can call as the reserved word. This reserved word that is used for particular purpose. We have some applications, some purpose for that particular keyword. We cannot use this keyword as a variable name. A variable name, or we cannot use that as the constant name. Here different types of keywords, that is auto, break, case, character, constant, continue, default, do, double, else, enum, extern, float, for, go to, if, int, long, register, return, short, signed, size of, static, struct, switch, typedef, union, unsigned, void, volatile, while. Okay, these are the different keywords that is used in C language. Okay, all of you know all the purpose of all the keywords. Which keyword purpose, if you don't know? Whether you know about the auto? Auto? Anybody know about the auto keyword? Yes or no? Auto keyword. Anybody know the use of auto keyword?
No, ma'am.
No. Then break. All this I think you know.
Yes, ma'am. Break no.
Break you don't know?
No, ma'am.
You don't know. You don't know about the break.
Yes.
Okay. You know about the switch statement, right?
Yes, ma'am. In switch it is used.
Ma'am.
We are using in
To
switch.
break a statement.
Yeah. Again, suppose if you are using some looping statement. Looping statements, looping, if you have some looping block, in that you can use break and continue statements. Whether you used it, break and continue statement. To stop the iteration, you can use the break statement. Again, to continue the next iteration, you can use the continue statement, right?
To come out of the statement.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Any doubt? Any doubts? Okay, let it be like this. A later part of the program, I will explain about the auto. Again, you might be, I don't know whether you are knowing about the extern or not. I will explain that. Type def, I will explain that. Then remaining, I think you know. Volatile, I don't know whether you know this or not. I will explain that keywords, use of that keywords. Okay. Now, different operators that is used in C language. Now, we have different types of operators we can use in C language. That may be the arithmetic operators, or that may be relational operators, logical operators, bitwise operators, ternary or conditional operators. Okay, these are the different types of operators. Okay, again, these operators we are using in the mathematics. That same operators we can use in C language also while writing the expressions. Okay, first one, arithmetic operators. Under that we have 4 operators. It is addition, subtraction, Star, that is multiplication, again division operator. Relational operator, it is less than symbol, greater than symbol, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and not equal to operator. Can you tell me what is the use of this equal operator?
Compare.
Yeah, compare. Okay. To compare two data, value of two variables, you can just use the equal operator, that is comparison operator, right? Next, we have the logical operator. In that logical operator, we have the AND operator. Again, we have the OR operator, and we have the NOT operator. Then bitwise operators, we can perform the bitwise operations on any expression or any data, and that is AND, OR, then XOR, less than shift operator, that is left shift operator, right shift operator, then in last one is the negation operator. The last one, that is the ternary or conditional operator. Anybody, can you explain this? What is the use of this conditional operator? How it works? Whether you studied this conditional operator?
Yes, ma'am.
How it works?
There are.
Okay, here we have the example. You can just explain this example. Condition, we have the syntax: condition, question mark, true value, colon, false value, then semicolon. How it works? Okay, this is same.
If it is true,
Yeah.
The condition is true, the true value is displayed.
Yeah.
Is false.
Oh, correct.
Zero.
Okay, so yeah. See, suppose a greater than 100. A value is greater than 100, then it will return the value 0. Otherwise, it will return the value 1. Right? Okay, this is same as your if statement. Suppose if a greater than 100, then 0, return the value 0, else return the value 1. That we can call as the ternary operators or conditional operators. The last one, that is the assignment operator. Equal, that is the equal operator that we are using to assign the data of one variable to the another variable, or to copy the data of one variable to the another variable, we are using the assignment operator. Any doubt related
No, ma'am.
to the, shall I move?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
Structure of a C program. Okay, here, how we can write the C program? First, we have the pre-processor directive block. Then here we have the global declaration block. Then we have the main program. Again, under main program, we have the local declaration, and you can write different statements based on that particular problem. Then end that main function. Okay, again, all the functions we have to write inside the open flower bracket, again close flower bracket. And suppose if you have different functions in your program, that you can write here, or you can write here also. Right? This is one simple structure of a C program. Okay, can you tell me some of the preprocessor directives that is used in C? Yes, preprocessor directives that is used in C. Anybody can tell? Yes. stdio.h. Okay, that is the header file.
Math.h.
Math.h. Yes. Okay. Here now, what is the use of that stdio.h header file?
It's a standard input-output operation.
Yeah. What is the use of that standard input operation .h, that is header file? Why we are including that header file in our program?
Printf and
Printf
scanf
and
functions are stored.
Yeah. See, the printf and scanf functions are the built-in functions. Printf and scanf functions are the built-in functions or predefined functions. See, that predefined functions that is stored in header file stdio.h. See, that printf and scanf we are using in our program. So before using that, we have to include the header files related to that function, right? That we can call as the preprocessor directives. And second block, we have the please, students, please mute your microphone. If you have any doubts during that time, you can unmute that and ask. Okay. Otherwise, we'll get a lot of disturbance. Okay, now, second block, that is global declaration. Okay, what is the use of this global declaration? What type of variables we are declaring in this block? Anybody can tell? Yes.
It can be used all over the program.
All over the problem. That means, suppose in your program, you may have more than one function, right? We have more than one functions. Maybe in all the functions, we are using that particular variable. Okay, that type of variable we can declare in the global declaration block that is applicable, that particular variable that's applicable for all over the program or throughout the program, right? Okay, then main part of this C program, that's the main function, always execution that will start from the main function. Here in main, we have the syntax like int main, then flower bracket, inside that bracket, inside that we have the void. Now, what is the meaning of int main?
Returns the integer value.
It will return the integer value. Okay, this main we are considering as one function. Okay, that function is having the return value, okay, return type. Here main function that is returning the integer value. Okay, other than int, what type of keyword we can use here? Can we use some other keyword here instead of
Yes,
int?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Void.
void. We can use the void, means that particular main function, it won't return any value. It don't return any value. During that time, we can just give the void. After that, we have the open flower bracket. At the end, we must close that flower bracket. Then inside this main function, we can write our source code. Again, here we have one statement that is local declaration. Okay, now what is the difference between global declaration and local declaration? Difference between global declaration and local declaration. Okay, this global declaration variable that is used all over the program in any functions. Suppose in the program we have different functions. All the functions can use these global declaration variables. But if you have the local declaration, inside that function, only inside that function we can use the local variables, right? After declaring the variables, before using any variables or before using any memory locations, we have to declare the variables or we have to name that particular memory location. For that, we have to declare the variables. After declaring the variables that is used in your program, you can just write the source code, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
one simple program. Can you tell me what is the purpose of this program? What is the purpose? What is the use of this program? Yes.
To sum the add two numbers.
Add two numbers.
Add two numbers. Add two integer number and store the result in another integer variable.
Sum.
That variable name is sum.
Sum.
Right? Okay, now
Yes.
first we have to declare the header file hash include stdio.h. Why hash include? What is this include?
Library.
What is include? Is
Preprocessor directive.
yeah, this is the preprocessor directive. Hash include, that is one folder, or you can call that is the preprocessor directive. Inside that preprocessor directive, we have the file stdio.h. Stdio.h, that is one header file that is present inside this folder, include folder, right? Okay, then main function. Here we have three local variables. It is integer type, int number 1, number 2, and sum. Then here we have the predefined function or built-in function printf. For this built-in function printf, we are passing some parameters. We are passing the string parameter for this built-in function. that is enter two numbers. Then scanf %d, number 1, ampersand number 1 and ampersand number 2. See, now what is the use of this %d?
And
What is that %d?
To store the variable.
control string, ma'am.
Yes,
Control string.
control string. Okay, or you can call that as the format specifiers, right? %d, that is the format specifier for integer, right? What is the format specifier for the float?
%f.
Percentage F. What is the format specifier for the double?
%if.
Percent.
IF double is whether that is IF or LD.
LD.
LD. Okay, now we are reading two numbers using the scanf function. Scanf function that is used to read the data from the keyboard. Okay, here we are reading two integer number. Okay, that two integer number, whatever the data we are reading, that two integer number we are storing in the memory location number 1 and number 2. Why here we are using the address, that is ampersand?
To address.
Yeah.
Take the address of that number.
In this number 1 that is the variable, local variable. Okay, now that particular local, here we are first taking some memory location and we are giving some name for that memory location, that is number 1. In data we have taken from the keyboard, right? Ampersand number 1, we are storing the first number. Again in ampersand number 2, in this particular address we are storing the second number. After that, here we are performing the arithmetic operation. We are using the arithmetic operator plus, add that two numbers and just store the final result in sum, right? Okay, now here final statement, that is printf %d plus %d equal to %d. What is the use of this? Can you tell me? Last printf statement, %d plus %d equal to %d.
Ma'am, not able to see PPT, ma'am.
You cannot see the PPT.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
This one you saw, structure of C program.
Yes,
see?
ma'am.
Now,
No, ma'am.
this is visible, structure of C program.
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Wait.
No, ma'am.
Wait. Is it visible now?
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Tell me now.
No.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Wait. Be there. I will just log out and log in again. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಹೋದ್ರು ಈಗ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ವರುಣ್
ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುಗೀತಾ?
ವರುಣ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ.
ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮುಗೀತಾ ಮಾರೆ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮುಗಿಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಎಂತ PPT ಓದ್ದ?
ನೀನು ಯಾರ ಮಾತಾಡುದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ.
ಸ್ವಸ್ತಿಕ್.
Mute your microphone. I am recording the video. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Last printf statement, right? We are there in the last printf statement, right? Printf percentage d plus percentage equal to percentage d. What is the use of this? Yes.
Ma'am.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is the use of last printf statement? Why we are giving the percentage d and percentage d?
To take the numbers.
Yeah. Already we have stored some numbers in the memory location number 1, number 2, and some. To access the number data of that particular variable, again that is the integer data, we are using percentage d and percentage d, right?
Yes,
Yeah, after that, it will return the value 0. Here we are using int main, it will return the value 0, or it will just return the integer value, right?
Yes.
Here in this particular program, whether this is required, int main is required or not.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that is not required. You can write the void main also. We are not returning any value here.
Yes.
So we can write the void main, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible my screen? Control statements in C language.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Here in C language, we have different types of control statements. Again, we have different types of looping statements. Okay, we will discuss this one by one. Okay, first control statement, that is if else. Again, we have different types of if else statements. Then we are discussing about the switch statement, different types of loops, that may be the do while loop, or that may be while loop, or that may be for loop. Then we will discuss some code related to the break and continue statement, right? First one is if else statement. What is the use of if else statement? What is the use of if else statement? Yes. What is the use of if statement, or what is the use of if else statement?
He verifies the first expression. If it is
Yeah.
true, it will execute, and if it is false, it will execute the second statement.
Suppose if you want to execute the statement only if that condition is true. Suppose if you want to execute the statement only if that particular condition is false, then we can go for the if statement, right? Under that if statement, we have different types, that is if statement, if else statement, if else if ladder, or that may be the nested if statement. Okay, here, this slide is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First block. Here we are using only if statement. If, then inside the bracket you'll write the condition, or we can write the expression. If A greater than B. Okay, you can use some relational operator to write the expression, or you can use some logical operator to write the expression. Only if that expression is true, then it will execute the body of that if statement. Otherwise, it won't execute the body of the if statement. It will just execute the statement that is present after the close flower bracket. Understood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that is the first type. Second type here, if else. If that expression is true, then it will execute the first block. Suppose if the expression is false, or condition is false, it will just execute the second part. If the expression is true, it will execute the first part. If the expression is false, it will go for the second part. After executing this if part or the else part, then it will execute the remaining part of that particular program. Any doubt in if else?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, next this ladder, if else ladder. Here, if the condition 1 is true, it will execute the body of that first condition. Otherwise, it will check the second condition. Else, if it will check the condition 2. Again, if that is true, it will execute the body of that. Suppose again that condition also false, it will just go for the next else if statement. It will check the condition. Again, condition 3 is true, it will execute the body of that. Otherwise, it will go for the else part. Okay, suppose if the none of the condition is true here, and that is condition 1 or condition 2 or condition 3, it will just go for the else part. Okay, this we can call as the if else or else if ladder. Any doubt in this else if ladder? If the condition 1 is true, it will execute that. If the condition 1 is false and condition 2 is true, it will execute this part. Suppose if the condition 1 is false, again 2 is false, again condition 3 is true, it will execute the third part. Suppose all three conditions are false, then it will go for the last else statement. It will execute the last else statement. Right? That is next. One more is, I don't have the example for this. Nested if. What is nested if? What is nested if?
If and if else statement
Yes.
found in group.
Okay, inside one if statement, we can write another if else statement. Understood?
Yes.
Inside one if statement, you can write another if else statement that we can call as the nested if else statement. If condition is true, then it will go for the body of that if statement. Again, under the inside that body of the if statement, we have one more if else statement. Okay, that we can call as nested if. Okay, here one more example, one more syntax that is related to the switch statement. Okay, now can you tell me when we can use the switch statement? When we can use the switch statement? Anybody can tell when we can use the switch statement.
In multiple selection.
If suppose if you have the multiple selections or if you have the multiple conditions, right? If you have the multiple selections, multiple conditions, you can just go for the switch statement. Okay, here in this switch syntax, switch, you can write the expression. Then here we have different case values. Case value 1, case value 2, case value 3, etc. etc. Suppose if the case 1 is true, this expression that is based on the case 1, it will just execute the statements that is written inside the case 1 block. After executing the statement that is written in the case 1 block, it will just come out of that switch state. Right? Whether it will execute the multiple cases, case value 1 and case value 2 in switch?
No.
No. Okay, it will execute only one block, right? You have the multiple blocks. Under that, suppose if you want to select only one block, you can just go for the switch expression or switch statement. Right? Okay, here we are using the break statement. Okay. To come out of this particular switch statement or to come out of this switch block, we are using the break statement. Now, what is the use of default block here?
If the all cases are not executed, then default case is executed.
Okay. If all the case values are false, then it will just go for the default block, right? Whether this is compulsory, default block is compulsory in switch. Whether that is compulsory?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Without that also you can execute the program switch statement. Okay, it won't display anything. It will just come out of that switch statement. Right? Suppose if you want to write the program in more expressive way, you can use the default statement inside. You can include the default inside the switch. Right? Okay, next topic, that is loops in C language. Okay, you want more information, more explanation based on the previous topics, or this much is enough? Whether you want more information, enough, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next, we will discuss about the loops in C language. Here, loops. What is the use of loops?
Iteration.
Iteration. When we will use the loops? What is the advantage?
If there is execution, more number of execution.
Okay. Suppose if you have to execute the same part of the code many times. If you want to execute the same part of the code many times, then you can go for the loops. Now, I want, so for example, I want to enter the student information. I want to store the student information in some file. That means I want to read the student name again. I want to read the USN number. I want to read the different marks. See how we can enter that, how we can read that. See, instead of writing that name, USN, etc. again and again, you can just write that inside one loop and you can iteratively execute that particular part, right? Suppose if you want to execute the block of code many times in your program, you can just go for the loop. See again, in C, we have three types of loops. That is do while loop, again for loop. Okay, now what is the use of or what is the syntax of these three loops we'll discuss. First loop, that is do while loop. Syntax, first we have the keyword do, then flower bracket, then we have the source code or different statements, then close the flower bracket, then we have to write the condition along with the keyword while. Right now, when we can go for the do while loop, any idea?
Exit control loop.
Exit control loop. Yeah, what does it mean? Exit control loop. When we can use the do while loop?
When we need it to be executed at least once.
Yes, correct. Okay, suppose if you want to execute that block of code at least once, we have to go for the do while loop. Okay, after executing that part of the code, then only it will check the condition. Suppose condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Suppose if the condition is true, again it will go for the loop, right? If you want to execute the part of the loop at least once, then we have to use the do while loop. Okay, for example, here we are just storing the value of a in some variable x, and here after storing the value of a in variable x, we are checking whether n is less than 3. See here, you can just write the increment, that is increment operator, maybe before this loop or after this loop. We have to increment the value of n. Suppose if that is less than 3, execute this, otherwise it will come out of that particular loop. Any doubt here? Do while loop? Understood, right? Any doubt? Do while loop? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Next loop, that is while loop. Okay, when we can go for the while loop?
Loop is executed 0 or more times.
0 or more times. Okay, that means we don't know how many times that particular block of the code will execute. We don't know the number of iterations, right? We don't know the number of iterations. During that time, we can go for the while loop. First, it will check the condition, then it will execute the body of that particular loop, right? We don't need the total number of iterations. Then during that time, we can just go for the while loop. In while loop, syntax is while, then we have the expression or condition, then it will execute the body of that loop. Okay, suppose this condition is false, it won't execute the body of the while loop, it will just execute the remaining part of the code.
Not visible.
Not visible?
Yes.
Yes,
PPT
sir.
not visible.
Not visible.
No, ma'am. PPT not visible.
Okay, now I will close. This is 10:30, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shall we continue in the next class?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now do one thing.
Okay.
Do one thing. I will give some homework. I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
Yes, ma'am.
I will give some homework. You have to complete that before next class.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
first
ma'am.
take the question. This question you have studied in your first or second semester, right? Take the question. You have the pen and paper with you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Write a C program. Write a C program
Yes, ma'am. Next.
to find. Write a C program to find
Fine.
sum of n natural numbers Write a C program to find sum of n natural numbers
Next.
using for loop. Write a C program to find sum of n natural numbers using for loop. Over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now one more question. Write a C program.
Yes, ma'am.
Write a C program.
A C program.
Using pointers. Write a C program. Using pointers to compute this sum. Write a C program using pointers to compute the sum